Custom property validation. React's built-in validators are great for making sure that your variables are required and typed correctly. B. There are instances that require more robust validation. For example, you may want to make sure that a number is within a specific range or that a value contains a specific string. It provides a way to build your own custom value. For such cases, custom validation in React is implemented with a function T. His function should either return an error when a specific validation requirement is not met or null when the property is valid. With basic property type validation, we can only validate a property based on one condition T. The good news is that the custom validator will allow us to test the prop in many different ways. In this custom function, first check that the proper type value is a string. Then limit its length to 20 characters. Example 6 to 2. Example 6 to 2. CU. Custom prop validation. Prop types. Ingredients prop types dot number. Steps prop types dot number. Title props. Prop name equals. Type of props prop name equals string. New error title must be a string. Props prop name dot length 20. New error title is over 20 characters. Null. All property type validators are functions. To implement our custom validator, we will set the value of the title property under the prop types object to a callback function. Rendering the component, React will inject the props object and the name of the current property into the function as arguments. Can use those arguments to check the specific value for a specific property. In this case, we first check the title to make sure it is a string. If the title is not a string, the validator returns a new error with the message. A title must be a string. If the title is a string, then we check its value to make sure it is not longer than 20 characters. If the title is under 20 characters, the validator function returns null. If the title is over 20 characters, then the validator function returns an error. React will capture the returned error and display it in the console as a warning. Custom validators allow you to implement specific validation criteria. A custom validator can perform multiple validations and only return errors when specific criteria are not met. Custom validators are a great way to prevent errors when using and reusing your components. S6 classes and stateless functional components in the previous sections. We discovered that property validation and default property values can be added to our component classes using React.createClass. This type checking also works for S6 classes and stateless functional components, but the syntax is slightly different. When working with S6 classes, prop types and default props declarations are defined on the class instance, outside of the class body. Once a class is defined, we can check the prop types and default props object literals. Example 6 to 3. Example 6 to 3. S6 class. Class summary extends React.component. Render. Const ingredients, steps, title equals this.props return. Equals summary. Title. Ingredients. Ingredients. Steps. Summary.crop types equals ingredients crop types dot number, steps crop types dot number, title props, crop name equals type of props prop name equals string. Numero title must be a string. Props prop name dot length 20. Numero title is over 20 characters. Now, summary.default props equals ingredients 0, steps 0, title recipe. The prop types and default props object literals can also be added to stateless functional components. Example 6 to 4. Example 6 to 4. S. Stateless functional component. Const summary equals ingredients, steps, title equals return title ingredients steps summary.crop types equals ingredients react.crop types number is required, steps react.crop types number is required. Summary.default props equals ingredients 1, steps 1. With a stateless functional component, you also have the option of setting default properties directly in the function arguments. We can set default values for ingredients, steps, and title when we destructure the properties object in the function arguments as follows. Const summary equals ingredients equals 0, steps equals 0, title equals recipe equals return title ingredients steps. Class static properties. In the previous section, we looked at how default props and prop types are defined outside of the class. An alternative to this is emerging in one of the latest proposals to the ECMAScript spec class field static properties. Class static properties allow us to encapsulate prop types and default props inside of the class declaration. Property initializers also provide encapsulation and cleaner syntax. Class summary extends react.component. Static prop types equals ingredients prop types number, steps prop types number, title props, prop name equals type of props prop name equals string. Numero title must be a string. Props prop name dot length 20. Numero title is over 20 characters. Now, static default props equals ingredients 0, steps 0, title recipe. Render. Const ingredients, steps, title equals this dot props return. Equals summary. Title. Ingredients. Steps. Property validation, custom property validation, and the ability to set default prop. Values should be implemented in every component. This makes the component easier to reuse because any problems with component properties will show up as console warnings. Refs references, or refs, are a feature that allow React components to interact with child elements. The most common use case for refs is to interact with UI elements that collect input from the user. Consider an HTML form element. These elements are entirely rendered, but the users can interact with them. When they do, the component should respond appropriately. For the rest of this chapter, we are going to be working with an application that allows users to save and manage specific hexadecimal color values. This application, the Color Organizer, allows users to add colors to a list. Once a color is in the list, it can be rated or removed by the user. We will need a form to collect information about the new colors from the user. The user can supply the color's title and hex value in the corresponding fields. The Add Color Form component renders the HTML with a text input and a color input for collecting hex values from the color wheel. Example 6 to 5. Example 6 to 5. A. Color form. Import component from React. Class Add Color Form extends component. Render. Return. Equals P dot prevent default. Type equals text. Placeholder equals color title. Required / Type equals color required / add. The Add Color Form component renders an HTML form that contains 3 elements. A text input for the title, a color input for the color's hex value, and a button to submit the form. W. When the form is submitted, a handle function is invoked where the default form event is ignored. T. This prevents the form from trying to send a GET request once submitted. Once we have the form rendered, we need to provide a way to interact with it. S. Specific. Cowley, when the form is first submitted, we need to collect the new color information and reset the form's fields so that the user can add more colors. Using refs, we can refer to the title and color elements and interact with them. Example 6 to 6. Example 6 to 6. A. Color form with submit method. Import component from React. Class Add Color Form extends component. Constructor props. Super props. This dot submit equals this dot submit dot find this. Submit. Const title, color equals this dot ref c dot prevent default. Alert new color title dot value color dot value. Title dot value equals color dot value equals 0000000. Title dot focus. Render. Return. Equals this dot submit. Ref equals title. Type equals text. Placeholder equals color title. Required / Ref equals color. Type equals color required / add. We needed to add a constructor to this S6 component class because we moved submit to its own function. W. With S6 component classes, we must bind the scope of the component to any methods that need to access that scope with this. Next, in the render method, we set the form's onSubmit handler by pointing it to the component's submit method. W. We've also added ref fields to the components that we want to reference. A ref is an identifier that React uses to reference .l. Mens. C. Creating title and color of attributes for each input means that we can access those elements with this .refs title or this .refs color. When the user adds a new title, selects a new color, and submits the form, the compo .NIT submit method will be invoked to handle the event. A. So we prevent the form's default submit behavior, we send the user an alert that echoes back the data collected by refs. After the user dismisses the alert, refs are used again to reset the form values and focus on the title field. 2. Pete Hunt, thinking in React. Binding the this scope when using React.create class to create your components. There is no need to bind the this scope to your component methods. React.create class automatically binds the this scope for you. Inverse data flow. It's nice to have a form that echoes back input data in an alert, but there is really no way to make money with such a product. What we need to do is collect data from the user and send it somewhere else to be handled. This means that any data collected may eventually make its way back to the server, which we will cover in Chapter 12. First, we need to collect the data from the form component and pass it on. A common solution for collecting data from a React component is inverse data flow. 2. It is similar to, and sometimes described as, two-way data binding. It involves sending a callback function to the component as a property that the component can use to pass data back as arguments. It's called inverse data flow because we send the compo into function as a property, and the component sends data back as function argu. Let's say we want to use the color form, but when a user submits a new color we want to collect that information and log it to the console. We can create a function called logColor that receives the title and color as argu. The values of those arguments can be logged to the console. When we use the addColor form, we simply add a function property for onNewColor and set it to our logColor function. When the user adds a new color, logColor is invoked, and we've sent a function as a property. Const logColor equals title, color equals console.log new color title value. onNewColor equals logColor /. To ensure that data is flowing properly, we will invoke onNewColor from props with the appropriate data. Submit. Const title, color equals this.refs this.props.onNewColor title.value, color.value. Title.value equals color.value equals 0000000. Title.focus in our component. This means that we'll replace the alert call with a call to this.props.onNewColor and pass the new title and color values that we have obtained through refs. The role of the addColor form component is to collect data and pass it on. It is not concerned with what happens to that data. We can now use this form to collect color data from users and pass it on to some other component or method to handle the collected data. onNewColor equals title, color equals console.log todo add new title and color to the list. Console.log todo render UI with new color. /. When we are ready, we can collect the information from this component and add the new color to our list of colors. Optional function properties. In order to make two-way data binding optional, you must first check to see if the function property exists before trying to invoke it. In the last example, not supplying an onNewColor function prop would lead to a JavaScript error because the component will try to invoke an undefined value. This can be avoided by first checking for the existence of the function property. If this.props.onNewColor, this.props.onNewColor title.value, color.value. A better solution is to define the function property in the compo. links prop types and default props. Add color form dot prop types equals on new color prop types dot func. Add color form dot default props equals on new color f equals f. Now when the property supplied is some type other than function, React will complain. If the onNewColor property is not supplied, it will default to this dummy function, f equals f. This is simply a placeholder function that returns the first argument sent to it. Although this placeholder function doesn't do anything, it can be invoked by JavaScript without causing errors. Refs in stateless functional components. Refs can also be used in stateless functional components. These components do not have this, so it's not possible to use this .refs. Instead of using string attributes, we will set the refs using a function. The function will pass us the input instance as an argument. We can capture that instance and save it to a local variable. Let's refactor add color form as a stateless functional component. Const add color form equals onNewColor equals f equals f equals. Let title color const submit equals e equals e dot prevent default onNewColor title dot value color dot value title dot value equals color.value equals 0000000. Title.focus. Return. Equals submit. Ref equals input equals. Title equals input. Type equals text. Placeholder equals color title. Required /. Ref equals input equals. Color equals input. Type equals color required /. Add. In this stateless functional component, refs are set with a callback function instead of a string. The callback function passes the element's instance as an argument. This instance can be captured and saved into a local variable like title or color. Once we've saved the refs to local variables, they are easily accessed when the form is submitted. React State Management. Thus far we've only used properties to handle data in React components.